I know a bunch of you probably want to know, was my first year in tech sales lucrative? And I would say, hey there, and welcome back to Sassy Tech. I know it's been a minute, forgive me, but I'm here to talk about my official first year in tech sales, what that entailed, what we're gonna get into some stuff, and to see how do I feel about it 1 year later. So let's get into it. What was my first year of tech sales like? It was wild, okay? I had really big moments of growth, a lot of challenges, learned a lot of skills. So I would say overall, it's been really good. But there are some challenges that we need to talk about and some things that I would have done differently with the knowledge that I have today. So as most of you already know, I worked at a outsourced SDR company. For instance, if Google needed additional SDRs to go out and hunt for new prospects, we would take on that as like a third party entity. And let me just say, I broke into tech because I was selling tech, okay? But it was not what a traditional tech company, like how the structure is for a traditional tech company. So if I would have based my experience just off of that first gig that I got, I probably wouldn't have stayed in this field, just keeping it a buck. Because of the nature of the job, it was very difficult for me personally. It was difficult for me because of all of the changes. You're rapidly switching, from one company to another, and it was too much. Now, I'm not saying I'm not adaptable. It's just, I didn't want to do it. I didn't like that. You have to find something that meshes well with you so you can have a good, strong workflow. And that just wasn't it. It wasn't it for me. So essentially, I moved on to another role, which was an interesting role. I'm trying to find the words. Let's just say, once again, it wasn't for me. Not the job, y'all. Not the job itself, but the company. Culture and like how a company is ran is so important for your success, because if you go into work hating what you do,
you ain't gonna make it.
The companies that I worked for were vastly different. Okay, so one was, like I said, it was a well-oiled machine. It was a bit like, giving Amazon, warehouse vibes a little bit. And then the second company that I went to was polar opposite. It was a startup. It was
we do not know what works. Absolutely not. I mean, we barely have a product, right?
It was a startup.
Hey y'all, this is Editor Me, and I just wanted to pop in to say that I can't really get into too many details because I had to sign an NDA. Yeah, that's right, an NDA.
That was an interesting dynamic. And to keep it classy, sometimes working for startups, you are asked to do things that are outside of your job description, which is fine. There's a smaller team, it's less of you. We all got to work together for the greater good. But I wanted to get on those phones and do outreach, and I found myself not doing the actual job that I signed up for. That is something that I would suggest y'all be very, very careful of. Is people will hire you for one thing and they'll have you doing something else. And ultimately, unfortunately, there's not a lot of ways to make sure that you avoid that. So I just feel like year one is just get through it. Just get through it. Get through year one. It's not going to be perfect. If you find a position where you love it and you stay there, congratulations, I'm happy for you. But if you're not one of those people, don't let the first or second job deter you from keep going and finding that perfect position that you want. Basically, for the two jobs that I had, they were 100% great stepping stones, but I knew that they weren't something that I wanted to grow into. I didn't really feel that I want to be here for a long time, So essentially, I kept looking. But needless to say, they definitely taught me very valuable lessons and skills that I've brought to my current position. But before we get into that, the things that I learned in my first year of being an SDR is confidence, just flat out confidence. I was so nervous and so self-conscious when I first got into this position. Oh my goodness, y'all. I would overanalyze everything. Like I would become so overwhelmed with anxiety that I couldn't really perform the best way that I wanted to. So I really had to work on my ability to be confident, or at least fake it. When I'm on the calls, take control of the calls, make sure they know, hey, I'm here to give you something that you need. So yes, that's one of the biggest things, is I learned how to gain confidence. And that just comes with time, I believe. And I will say with my whole chest, confidence is key. I'm telling y'all, with this position, you can almost BS your way through a conversation if you sound like you have an authoritative approach to it, if you will. Now, granted, don't be on the phone bullying people like, you gonna take this call. Like, that's not gonna work either. But having confidence in what you're saying, also having confidence that you're gonna book that meeting. So that was one thing that I definitely learned from my first year of being in tech sales. What else? Besides, it being intimidating at times and challenging, it was quite enjoyable seeing my personal growth. I think overall, sorry if you hear the AC going, it's loud. But anyway, seeing my personal growth is really what kept me going. There were absolutely, there were times that I'm like, this is not for me. I'm about to go back to what I know. This job sucks. But I was determined to keep going. Even in the times where I was like, I'm done, I don't want to keep going, I told myself, no, you need to keep going. And we have a bigger goal. And these are not the only two, jobs that are available. So with that being said, I just made sure that I paid attention to my personal growth. How comfortable I became talking to people on the phone, how well I developed my messaging, and really I just kept my eyes on the prize. I'm trying to get to, multiple six figures, you feel me? So I have to keep my eyes on the prize and I have to keep going. And speaking of dinero, de mula, I know a bunch of you probably want to know, was my first year in tech sales lucrative? And I would say yes and no. I say yes because I've made more than what I made prior to entering this field, about 20-ish grand. However, I say no because the impression that a lot of people feel is like year one, you're going to be making six figures or more. Talked about this before. We already know.
For most people, that's
cap.
I'm not going to disclose exactly what I made because I'm still a little shy when it comes to sharing my income. When I get rich, that's when I tell y'all. But ultimately, it was lucrative for me personally. Now, some may be like, girl, you didn't make that much. To me, I made 20 grand more than what I was making. So I say that's a net positive. I wanted to get on here and talk about, my first year, and this is totally not a structured video whatsoever. However, what is my overall thought about tech sales still? Do I still think it's something great? I'm going to go ahead and say I absolutely do. And I finally found a company that I feel I have a bright future at. The workflow is something that resonates with me. The people are really great people. And I just started, so I've only been there a month. However, a month at those other two, I knew, this ain't it.
get somebody else to do it.
This one, I have high hopes for. In this position, I'm going to make the most that I've made, way bigger commission checks, yada, yada, yada. I'm more confident. I'm more knowledgeable. Having that experience is why I feel more confident going into this. And not only that, this company is one of the leading companies in its industry. And just based off of how other SDRs are doing, like not only one person is making quota like some places. I think this is going to be a really good place to grow. And I'm looking very excited into the future about what it can bring. Like I said, y'all, this was just an update. I know I hadn't been, on my channel for some months because life be lifing. And I just wanted to share that with you really quick. Tell me if you actually got into tech sales, if you're thinking about tech sales, comment that down below. Make sure y'all subscribe, because it helps out the channel like everybody else and their mama always says. Excuse my cat, he's doing cat things. I definitely am looking into kind of broadening my subject matter when it comes to my channel. So we're gonna see, it might be some different kind of content that's coming out, but yeah, and also give me suggestions of what else y'all would want me to talk about. It does not have to be only tech sales. I was thinking about maybe talking about more corporate-y things or something, I don't know, but Just let me know down in the comments what y'all think. And yeah, thanks for listening. Have a good one.